Wait for it. There we go. I love how it has a 4 second delay, so we sit there looking like really dumb for 4 seconds. Hi, welcome to.
Nobody sees those 4 seconds though.
Oh yeah, they do. I don't edit that. Welcome to episode 2 of Don't Be a Dick. This evening's topic is It's Not About You, and our video tonight is sponsored by Little Wieners. Nailed it.
That's my teacup.
This is actually her cup. So
It's my teacup, and you're drinking coffee out of it.
Oh, well, anyway. So apologize for the delay. Our child does not like to go to bed. After the first week's video, I found out that I like to just go off script and do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm actually going to have topics of notes in front of me to make sure that I don't go way off topic tonight.
I have not seen any of that.
She hasn't seen any of this, which is awesome, but I don't want to go off topic tonight like I did the other time because I want to hit all the key points because it follows along with the book, right? So welcome to episode 2. It's not about you. If you're a man watching this, welcome. You're going to want to take notes. Get a notepad and a pen or a tablet or whatever you do. If you're a lady watching this, take notes as well because you want to give subtle pointers to the man in your life that's not listening the way he should listen. So we're going to have some fun with this tonight. She is not prepped. By the way, if you're on here, comment and say one thing you love about my wife because I made her come on the video tonight after her long drive home from Kansas City.
3 hours driving home after a very, very long day. I didn't even take a lunch break today. Very long day.
And she doesn't take lunch breaks.
I was like, I just want to take a shower and go to bed. And he's like, no, we're doing the video.
It's not fun when I'm by myself. You guys don't watch me, you watch her. So there are 2 key things. Okay, I'm going to start with this. There are 2 key things and 2 functions that make a great salesperson. Function number 1 is passion for the product or service that they are selling. And that's huge. We talked about that last week. Surprise. If you did not watch that video, I highly recommend watching it. It is on YouTube. It's also saved on my page and my business page. The other key thing to be really good and successful in business is having intentional, active listening skills. Yeah, not a lot of us have that. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And not only how that interacts in the business world, but most importantly, how that influences your personal life. And as I posted earlier, why people may not like you all the time and how you can listen actively in order to help change that around or help have a better relationship with your spouse or your partner. I just neglect to do it sometimes. So I know what active listening is. I just don't do it.
Most men have selective listening.
She's laughing because she knows it's true. So, a couple key focus areas. We're going to talk about back and forth banter and why that's important. Benefits versus features. So when you're talking about a given scenario, why that is important. And then we're going to go through the biggest thing is what is active listening. And
I'm very distracted by the wiener by your face. So let's put that down. Love you.
She doesn't like the little wiener by my face. I had a comment for that. I'm going to keep that to myself, guys. Keep that to myself. This is a rated PG podcast. So we're going to talk about what active listening is and what some QRs to show you are engaging in active listening. And then we're going to go through a little extra credit, which is preconceived notions and why those are important. So
good example of that. Watch last week's video. I called him out on something.
Oh, I was going to say we're going to wait until the end of the video for the preconceived notions.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so
Want
she called me out.
I did.
So, ready? Okay. First thing is, what is active listening? If you have your own version of what active listening is, comment in the comments section right now on what you believe active listening is. I'm going to give my rendition. She'll probably give an offshoot of hers. So I wrote it down.
Why is mine an offshoot?
Because you didn't prep for this. Active listening. It is when you are trying to avoid interrupting somebody in a conversation. You are summarizing and repeating back to help summarize and show that you're listening, and you're observing body language to help yourself learn how to approach the rest of the conversation moving forward and use those nonverbal cues. So somebody that's engaged in nonverbal cues, somebody that is not interrupting and is actually listening, and somebody that will summarize and repeat back. Okay, so those are kind of the big things that I think of when I think of active listening. What about you?
I am so bad at that. I always interrupt people. I think for me, it's like I have like a fear of like FOMO. Like seriously, I have
of not having your piece.
No, I just like I have a fear of like, maybe that is it. I don't know. I just have like a fear of not being heard, and not having the chance. So like when I hear something that I want to comment on, I just like immediately comment on it.
So watch tonight when she's doing the video and she finds a point that she really wants to discuss. She'll probably stop me mid-sentence and start talking.
I'm the
Just
worst.
like right there. She just did it.
See, not very good at that skill.
Active listening will not do that. Okay, cool. So I want to give a few examples. I wrote down a few because I think it's really important of what active listening truly is. Building trust and rapport. And this goes for business and your personal world, right? So building trust and rapport. That is huge. That's huge in anything. Any interpersonal interaction you have, somebody has to trust you and you have to build rapport or else they're not going to like you and they're not going to talk to you. It's somebody that demonstrates concern. So going back to last week's video, another big point, you have to show concern and it has to be genuine concern. That's what active listeners do. You paraphrase, kind of like I talked about at the beginning here a few minutes ago. When you paraphrase back to someone, and I'm going to talk about how that can be dangerous and how it can be good because we talk about back and forth banter. You want to paraphrase things to show people that you're actually listening to what they're saying versus just going, which is what I do when she gets angry and I just zone her out. Other things, we're going to skip through that. Non-verbals, so nodding. So when my wife's nodding, I'm going to do my nonverbals to show an agreement or to nod and say, yeah, I'm listening. I'm going to have eye contact. And I'm going to lean slightly forward to her to show her that I really care. Not too far, because then it gets weird, right? So this is a little weird.
I thought you said this was PG.
Oh, I didn't actually kiss you. So those are a couple of things. And you're going to ask open-ended questions. You're not going to do yes or no questions. It's going to be open-ended because then they have to reply with something that's more than yes or no. And that engages in more conversation. So that when you can take those nonverbal cues and those verbal cues from the other person and learn more about them so you can have longer conversations that are more meaningful. Cool.
Are you okay? I feel like you've had a lot of coffee.
I haven't had any coffee
You're
since...
talking so fast.
I'm trying to get the point across because we have 30 minutes. We have 30 minutes to get this video done.
My brain hurts right now.
Versus 2 hours, right? Like normally my podcast is 2 hours and it's 30 minutes tonight. So, okay. I want to go through, give me an example of active listening for you and why it's important.
Probably what you said, like trying not to interrupt. And I realize that I'm doing it when I'm doing it, but I just...
Why is that important to you though? Why? What kind of conversations do you have where not interrupting somebody is important?
Well, probably like at work, like with my patients when they're trying to explain something to me or like what they're requesting and I don't let them get their full sentence out, I guess.
Because you think you know what they're about to say? Or you think you know better?
Probably because I think I know what they're about to say more often than not.
And is that a preconceived notion?
Sometimes.
Yeah, right.
It could be, but sometimes I could be right.
You could be. So why do you think that's dangerous?
Because it would piss them off.
If it wasn't what they were about to say, right?
Yeah, and like that would go against me personally as, you know, somebody that I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
But I'm not really being helpful if they're just mad at me because I'm not letting them get their point across or let them tell me what they're needing or wanting.
One of the things that I think is really important with that we have to take away is you're listening. When you're active listening, a lot of people are like, oh, I listen actively, and then but they're in the back of their head, they're still going to reply with whatever they want to reply with, right? Mm-hmm. Versus, so I always talk about intent. So you're listening with the intent of engaging back with what they said versus rebuttal or replying, right? Like, so if I'm just sitting here and I'm listening and I already have what I want to say in my head, no matter what you say, I already have like, yes, I know exactly what I'm going to say back. It's like, no, that's not active listening.
Sometimes there are instances where that is appropriate though.
Okay. I'll bite. Give me an example.
Like, you know, my situation at work with this patient who has been a little bit harassing, I guess. Mm-hmm. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
He's calling about the same thing over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And we have already answered all of his questions. We have already done all of the processes that we need to get him scheduled for specialist appointments. So when he continues to call over and over and over and over again, I literally already know what he's going to say and what he's going to ask for.
So in that scenario, you're actually doing that to, what's up, Zach? Hold on, I'm going to hit like because I love Zach. Because you're actually doing that to cut the conversation more short, right?
Yeah.
So because you need to or you want to. So that is a great example. If there's a scenario where you need to cut it short, yeah, you probably should have a reply back ready to go so you can cut that conversation off if needed. So very valid point. I want to go to a couple of focus areas on this because when people have a conversation back and forth, there's a couple of key things to realize. So, one of the things that a lot of people say when they talk about making sure that you're actively engaged is they'll say to do exactly this, right? They say to paraphrase back and repeat back what they said to you. Or reply back with a scenario that is relevant and go, oh, yeah, I completely understand. I had this time when. That is good to a certain point. If you do it too often in a conversation, it makes it look like you're trying to one up that person or make it look like that their feelings or their scenarios that they're going through are not relevant. And you may not have remotely that kind of intention, but some people are easily angered or offended. And they may, in perception's reality, no matter what we say in life, perception and how we are perceived is reality, whether it is who we actually are or not. So we have to be cautious of that when we're having a conversation with someone. So if she's going, oh yeah, I had a bad day at work, babe. I had this happen. This person was constantly calling. They were perverts and this and that. And I go, yeah, I completely understand. I had a horrible day too. I had this, and this. And then 5 minutes later, I finally get done with my day. And she's like, wait a second.
We were just talking about me.
What about my day? And now it's about me versus her. And by the way, if you're in a relationship it's always about your partner. It's not about you. Hey, that's the title of tonight's podcast. Okay.
Sometimes it should be about you, though.
I mean, it should, but generally speaking, if you want to get ahead of the game and you want people to like you, it's never about you. Now, you need to make time for you, which she's bad at. That's a whole other topic for another day. Let's not get into that. So we'll talk about that later. Second thing, and this is going to have a little business aspect to it, but it's also going to get into personal, is the benefit versus features. So I talk about this in the book, is pitching benefits versus features. So I'm going to give an example of a business example, and then we're going to talk about why that's relevant in your personal life, right? So business versus features. In the business world, I'm going to use fitness because I was in fitness. Let's pretend Alyssa's coming in for a gym membership. She's like, Brian, I had 2 kids. I want to lose some weight. I'm not feeling sassy at all right now. I'm just feeling fat.
Sassy?
Just fat. I want to be fat. I want to be skinny and sassy.
That's the adjective
I'm
you
fat and sassy.
went with.
So she wants to lose weight. So when we're going over why she should sign up at my given gym, wherever I'm at A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we're going to talk about a couple things. So most people, when they talk about this, they're going to go, oh yeah, Alyssa, hi, yeah, I'm glad that you told me about that story. Thank you. And then they're going to go right into feature dumping. They're going to be like, oh, we have this amazing hot tub. It's going to help you. And I'm going to talk about a few feet. I'm going to try to do this wrong as much as possible. We have this awesome hot tub. You're going to have a track you can run around on. You can put your kids into the daycare. You're going to play some basketball. You have unlimited equipment. You have all this other. You have a pool outside. You have all these different things. We're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure that you don't have to worry about that. And they're just going to pitch a whole bunch of features versus the opposite, which is the benefits. I almost did benefits on that one too because it's just ingrained in my head. That kid wakes up right now. If she leaves, that's because my son's waking up. Here is the benefits side.
He's asleep.
Perfect, he's asleep. Benefits. If she goes, Brian, and first of all, if you have active listening, you're going to get a whole bunch of details out from that conversation that the person that's not active listening isn't getting. So let's just say, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to tone up. I want to de-stress because stress is a huge part of my life right now, and I have anxiety wherever I go. I don't like going in public. People freak me out, et cetera, because of COVID.
He's literally talking about me.
I'm just throwing stuff out. But hey, if that's spot on, cool. So, hey, Lindsay, what's up? Nice to see ya. So make sure you guys comment one thing that's awesome about my wife. And if you don't know my wife, just throw something positive from here. So
yeah, so positive right now.
Anyway, here is benefits. Alyssa, if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like stress is the number 1 factor for you just because of everything going on right now. And number 2 is to get your body image back to where you feel confident in your own skin. Would that be accurate? Mm-hmm. Okay. This is what we're going to talk about. There's a couple of things I think you really like. And I'm going to go through all the benefits of what we have, right? So I'm going to go through how she can lose that 20 pounds exactly and how she's going to feel when she loses that 20 pounds. And then I'm going to talk about the best ways for her to lose stress. Hey, have you ever just sat in a hot tub or sauna just to relax?
Yeah, before I had kids.
Yeah? Have you done it since?
No.
What about yoga? Just to get away.
Absolutely hate yoga.
Why do you hate yoga?
Because I'm not good at it.
So if it's something you got better at, would you entertain it to help with stress?
I really don't like yoga.
No? Okay, we're going to skip yoga out then. So, and that's another whole factor. I skipped away because it's not something she's even entertaining right now. Great, we'll come back to that. It's a great way to lose stress. And then I'm going to hit on the things that she says that she kind of gives me the nonverbal yes to or the verbal yes to. And I'm going to hammer on why those are going to benefit her versus just throwing out features. So let's go back to that and why that's relevant in your personal world, right? So we're having a conversation and I want to try to get her to do something that I want to do, even though it may not necessarily be something that she wants to do.
Disc golf is his big thing right now.
Okay, we could do disc golf.
Yeah.
So
I literally threw the frisbee thing like once. I don't know how to play.
I'm gonna do this on the spot. This may be really bad. So, babe, would you go disc golfing with me sometime?
Probably.
Yeah, you don't sound very enthused about that.
One, I have never done or play disc golf.
Uh-huh.
Is that the right adjective?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never done it before, and I'm probably not going to be very good at it. Plus, we're going to have to take the kids with us, and I'm probably going to be like stressed out, like making sure they don't like fall into a ditch or something. So, just saying.
Well, there's a couple of things there. One, it's really laid back. That sport, when you go to the it's in a park, right? So you're in a park. It's really laid back. How much does Ronan like going outside?
I mean, yeah.
He loves it, right? Like, I want to get out of the house. I know you get stir crazy if you're in the house for too long.
What about Riker, though? Like,
So
he can't walk yet.
Riker can crawl in the grass. There's nothing dangerous out there.
Okay, because you really love our kids.
Okay, do we want to put him on we can put him on the little sitting thing. I can throw disc golf while he's just sitting on my chest in the thing, right? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. And then secondarily, it's going to be gorgeous out. And I know that you love to get those endorphins released with the sun and just getting out of the house and not being cooped up. This is what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to throw out benefits to her. It's going to de-stress her. We're going to be able to spend some quality time with our kids. And my son loves it. And he'd love to throw crap around. He'd love to throw discs. I mean, let's be real. So you're trying to throw out benefits, not features. Now, if I went, hey, babe, listen to this. These discs are phenomenal. The cages are like top par. You got 3 numbers on this disc that show the speed. They show which way they curve. And I'm going to show you all these throws that you're just going to get really good really fast. She's going to be like, so.
Yeah, no, we're not going disc golfing.
Yeah. Snakes, oh, come on. I've never seen a snake disc golfing. Get out of here. I'm going to like your comment anyway, though, because I love you. So. But that's the importance of benefits versus features and why it's important in your personal world too. Because you can use that in every conversation. So if you want to do something and they may not want to do it, show them the benefits of why it's relevant to them.
Also be a good partner, even if you really don't want to do that thing. Just do
Give
it.
and take.
Yeah, I know that it's super important to him. He's actually brought it up several times. And like for Father's Day, he's like, disc golf gear, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So just saying. Take one for the team. If your partner really wants to do it, just give it a try. You might like it.
You might. Okay, next bullet point, because I don't want to get off topic, right? I even said that at the beginning of the call. The importance of letting others talk, which we've kind of already hit on, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. The next one I want to go through is emotional purchasing, okay? So we're going to talk about this in emotional decisions in your personal world. So what is emotional purchasing? Human beings by nature are very emotional, right? And some people are impulse buyers. They're very emotional about what they do when they buy. Because if they see something that just resonates, they'll be like, click, Amazon, buy now, deliver directly to my door.
Also talking about me.
Daily. I know. Who if you are one of those people that during COVID you became like an Amazon like addict, yeah, AA. Go to AA Anonymous. Amazon Addict Anonymous. Rachel, what's up? Alyssa's awesome because she puts up with you. Okay, whatever. Get out of here.
True
You don't have to
story.
watch this video anymore.
We just became best friends.
But if you like Amazon and you buy at least one thing a week, I want you to comment right now. I want to know who my Amazon addicts are.
The last thing I bought on Amazon was dog food, though, and we needed that.
You've done well.
I haven't bought anything that we didn't actually need in probably a month. I think I'm like going on a month.
Let's make a list of what we bought.
I'm gonna like
last
develop
year.
like a Twitch.
Okay, emotional purchasing. I'm going to give an example. It's going to be COVID related. You guys ready for this?
Oh, the political one.
It's not political. I'm not going to talk about guns. Oh my gosh.
Okay. You have it written down here.
Why are guns relevant to freaking COVID?
Because
TP and gas. Okay? Two perfect examples of emotional purchases. We start to get put in our homes and everybody loses their freaking minds and starts
And
hoarding.
why is toilet paper an emotional person? Like, I don't know.
What are you going to wipe your butt with if you don't have TP?
Well, I understand, but like really hoarding like 500 rolls of toilet paper, like really.
And people are emotional. And gas, like
Who am I to judge?
the gas pipeline got hacked the other day, and then all over the country you have people hoarding gas because they don't know if they're going to get it. Like, come on, give me a break. Anyway, the whole point of that is when people have some sort of emotional attachment to what they are looking at buying, they will purchase it like that. So on the business side within the book, I talk about how you can get that emotional underlying driver out of that person so you know how to build on that. And then for in your personal world, you have to be able to get them emotional about whatever you guys want to do, you know? You have to be able to get it out. Oh, go ahead. She's got something. Go ahead.
Trying not to interrupt you. I take back my judgmental comment because I definitely hoarded diapers because I was super afraid I wasn't going to be able to find diapers for the kids.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me something for the
No,
emotional.
I just realized that I was being very judgmental and I wanted to take it back. So apologize for that.
I like it. I like it. So, but with emotional purchasing or emotional conversations, I guess, the biggest thing is you want to get somebody excited and fired up about something, about you, whether it's about you, right? So, for example, if you're in an interview, let's just use something different. So, if you're in an interview, you got to get the person that's interviewing you excited about why they would ever want to hire you for this job because they're going to interview 25 other people. And the only way to do that is to talk about the other things that we did earlier in the call, and that's build rapport, build trust, get to know them, ask open-ended questions, and then they're going to start to go, oh, cool, this person's really, you know, they got their head on straight, they're asking good questions, we're engaging in conversation, and get that interviewer to talk about themselves. You know, if you can throw that in there somehow, get them to open up and talk, and then you can utilize that to find an emotional point with them, and then you can build off of that emotion, right? So, and then you can use that to sell the interview. There's so many scenarios where this is beneficial. If you want to talk about spouses, because I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this have a significant other. I mean, hopefully, most of us are really good in our relationships, but if we're not, here's an example, right? So, emotional stuff. What am I emotional about that you could use to pull on my strings?
You get really fired up when we talk about any kind of like sexual assault stuff happening in the world.
That is very true. She doesn't even have to. Yeah, that's a really good example for a different reason. But if she said, one, if it was her or my kids, first of all, the person would die. Cops would not be involved. Just me. Death. I'm just putting that out there.
That not
Okay.
actually true.
Not actually true. Anyway, he says something positive. Just that's what he said. But if she told me that somebody was in trouble or she had a friend that needed help or they were in a scenario where that would be happening, you wouldn't even have to try to convince me. Whatever we were doing, I would drop it like that and go help whoever needed it, however they needed it. And that's a perfect example of getting emotions built into it because, you know, most of the time I try to think logically and go, oh, you know, well, what about the kids? Or, you know, what about this and this? I'd be like, no, where do I need to go? You watch the kids. I'm gone. I'll be back. And that's it. So.
Well, and that factor plays a role in parenting too for us. Like we've had several conversations on like, I know that Ronan is only like 2.5 and Riker's only 11 months, but we've had conversations about how we're going to bring that topic up when they're older and able to understand it because that is like such a big fear of yours and mine, you know, with the potential with all the predators in the world, like making sure our kids are as prepared as they can be and able to communicate their feelings and things that are happening, you know.
But that's a perfect example of emotional decisions.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about the person versus the in-person, you know, your world, what you can do, that's an amazing example. So I think we hit that right on the head. I want to talk about one more big thing tonight, and then we'll kind of wrap everything up, and that's preconceived notions, all right? This is also in this chapter in my book, and preconceived notions are basically where you start to gather information or take prior experiences that you've had in your life and start to gather some sort of opinion and or comment that you're ready to talk about out of your head of somebody that you're talking to. So you're basically already deciding in your head before you may have all the facts of what is real and what is actuality. So a perfect example of this, since I had one of my friends, Nicole, posted this on my wall like yesterday, was shopping carts, right? So
we've talked about this before in a previous video.
We have in a video, and I think this is still very relevant and important, and we're going to talk about that example too.
Both his side and my side, me being a woman and sharing my experiences.
My preconceived notion of anybody that leaves their cart from a grocery store out in the middle of the parking lot is that they are lazy and they're unable to self-govern. So if nobody's watching and they're not held accountable and they leave the cart out, that means they're a lazy piece of crap and they just could care less about anybody else and what that leaving that cart out does. So that is a preconceived notion. Most of the time, that preconceived notion is probably going to be right. However, there are scenarios where that is not going to be right. And a perfect example of that is a scenario that somebody that is by themselves, I'm not going to say always, usually in a female role where they may be uncomfortable, and I'm going to have her briefly discuss that.
So, he got fired up one day about, the shopping cart thing. Like, oh, these people are so lazy. And I was talking about how, as a mom shopping by myself with my kids, okay, first of all, the car seats, getting my kids into the car seat, I don't want to leave my kids unattended in the car for even a second, so if I'm parked far away from the shopping cart return, my kids in the car by themselves or returning the shopping cart. Also, there's the fear of, not being aware of my surroundings all the time, so the potential for getting attacked or something in my car. That's terrible because I was returning the cart or whatever. So sometimes in those scenarios, the better option is just to be a lazy human being and take care of yourself or your kids. Yeah. So you don't know what's going on in that person's life. Exactly. They could be a lazy human being who just doesn't want to put their cart away, but there could also be something else triggering that behavior that you don't know about.
Perfect example. And notice the entire time she was talking, I did slow nods, I maintained eye contact, and I slightly leaned in a little bit closer to her.
Even though I could tell he was a little bit annoyed because I tend to talk in circles and repeat myself a lot.
I wasn't annoyed at all.
I don't believe you.
That's a preconceived notion from prior experiences that she has no idea about the facts on.
I'm married to you.
This is perfect.
That's a fact.
We just went through two things.
I know your nonverbal cues because I'm married to you. Love you.
But that is a perfect example. So from my point of view, I go, oh, well, that person's just lazy and they don't care about anybody else. And that person that has to gather all those carts up, or the person that their car can't park there because it's not in the way. I'm not thinking about what her scenario, because it's not something in my past, in my prior experiences, that really has ever come up.
Actually, when I was 35 weeks pregnant with Ronan, got followed from when I was shopping at Target. He was in Wichita Drill, and so I was home by myself, and I went grocery shopping. This guy was following me around the store. It was super creepy. So I went out and I checked out, and there was this other gal that was kind of creeped out by him too. And we were doing the self-checkout. So we actually walked out of the store together, and luckily she was only parked a few cars down from me. So she watched me load my stuff in, because I had a bunch of stuff and she just had a few things. And she watched me load my stuff in and put my cart away, and then she went and got in her car and we drove off at the same time. Yeah. It was so scary, and I called him and I was like, I'm super freaked out right now. So being a woman, that stuff just tends to stick with you. But I will say that I have kind of adapted that behavior because I know how much the not returning the cart bothers you. I will actually now park closer to a cart return, right next to it if I have to, so I can put my cart away and still be within the same vicinity of my car.
I like it.
Give and take, right?
No, that's perfect, because you're learning from your experiences. So that's a great example of how your prior experiences may not be correct for something else that's going on. And this is a huge point for everybody in today's society right now, because everybody's at each other's throats, is that you cannot go into a conversation assuming you know what that person is, what they are about, and who they are. You cannot assume that, because everybody has different experiences in their lives. And yeah, there is a majority and there are stereotypes for a reason, but that's not always going to be the status quo. That's not always going to be the case. So in my case, if I left the card out, I'm just lazy. If she leaves the card out, it could be something going on with her. So I think that hits the nail home on that.
I will say, I think it's super important to develop your own opinion about people. Don't go based off of what other people think about that person, because those other people's experiences with that particular person could be completely different than the experience that you may have with that person. And you could ruin that potential experience by having those preconceived notions about that person walking into it. So that's super important.
I have had that happen with me before.
I have too.
And it's
good and bad.
Good and bad, yeah. I have people that I'm sure, I mean, everybody loves me, right?
Not everybody.
Not even close. I have a lot of people that don't like me because I'm very forward.
But I love you.
And she loves me because she had a different experience than some of the people that don't like me. So yeah, that's case in point right there. How somebody has a relationship with somebody may not be how you have a relationship. So we're going to recap. We're at 31 minutes. Recap time. Ready? Because I told you I wouldn't let you watch too long. I wrote this down because I want to make sure you guys got all the key points. Listen more. Talk less.
I will start practicing that.
Because that allows you to get things from the individual that you can use to help further the progress of that relationship and that trust and that rapport. Speak to gain understanding, not to respond. Gain understanding, not respond. Give benefits when you're talking to the individual about whatever it is you're selling and or what you're trying to pitch to them as you know, the spouse or whoever. So benefits, not features. Nobody cares about features, and what's really cool to you or to anybody else, they want to know why that benefits them. Appeal to the emotional connection. So people are emotional beings. Gas, TP.
Diapers,
in her case. Guns, everything. People get freaked out, and that's good and bad, right? So good emotions and bad emotions, not just bad. There's great emotions too. So if somebody really wants to do something to help their kids out, Wilbur Scott, hold on, Wilbur. I hope the athletes like me. They were actually really cool. I got a few hugs the first time. I was so excited after that practice.
He almost tore a hamstring though.
I need to make sure I warm up before the.
He needs to be doing some yoga.
I'm going to be doing yoga and make sure that if I'm running with those guys, I warm up my hamstring first. But seek to understand and be understood. Yes, Ian's been reading a lot, which is awesome. And then the last thing is, don't have preconceived notions. The person that's in front of you, you know nothing about, and if you do know something, they're a different person than they were yesterday. So always take it as a clean slate. Obviously have the prior experiences in the back of your head as a safety guard. We have preconceived notions because it's a mechanism for survival. So, that, and I talk about that in my book, right? So inherently human beings need to know what's bad that could potentially hurt them or harm them.
Me, I'm like the worry wart.
Yeah.
I go through every terrible
Name
scenario.
one thing that scares you.
One thing that scares me is like my kids being abducted.
Okay, great. So that is, and so whenever she goes somewhere new or is out with the kids, she's going to have that in the back of their head going, okay, can this be a potential hazard with the kids? Can we?
As I'm driving into wherever I'm going through all of the potentials. Like if this happened, then I'm going to do this. Yep. Anything that I do with the kids, that's where my mind is.
So having those things in your head is great for survival, and do that. But when it comes to getting to know somebody that you may not know a lot about, do not let those preconceived notions about what somebody else said about them or your interactions with people of similar statuses or types or whatever the case may be have been like in the past. Because that's a huge no-no when it comes to building relationships in business. So that's the last key point. Again, listen more, talk less. Speak to gain understanding, not respond. Give benefits, not features. Appeal to emotional connection. Don't have preconceived notions. Lastly, it is not about you. Whether it is in sales or your personal life, make it about the other person. Obviously, you want to have time for you as well. But in the majority of your conversations, it is not about you. It is about the other person. If you have this mindset, I guarantee more people will like you. And I need that because I'm kind of sometimes. and I need people to like me. And it's going to help your relationships, whether it's in your personal life or your business world. So with that, one, thank you for joining. Secondly, my book is still on sale. Yeah, I'm going to do the sales pitch right now. It is still on sale on Amazon. You go to Amazon Books, don't be a dick with the little asterisk because I didn't want to put a bad word on Amazon. And lastly, I want you to comment with what your biggest takeaway was. So if you're still watching this and you get to the end of the video, thank you. And comment on what your biggest takeaway was from the time that you were on the call. And then if you watch this later, obviously do that as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for staying on, babe, and not going to sleep.
I'm going to go take a shower.
Troy, I love you. God bless, guys. See ya.
Bye.